Welcome to Curated by Culture. I'm your curator, Cassandra. Thank you as always for joining me. America, we have a problem. I was scrolling on Twitter, social media, and I had stumbled upon a conversation where a young lady was talking about people being brutally honest and how toxic it is during somebody's growth phase and X, Y, and Z. And as you know, I don't only just look at one thing, I read all the comments. So I scroll through these comments, and there were a lot of comments and people talking about like their situations. And I can see all the sides of it. I definitely could see, understand, and respect all the sides of the conversation. But I think the one thing that was missing was the part where one, we should be aligning ourselves with the right people. That was the biggest part I saw missing, right? I don't want to receive any brutal honesty from everybody, right? Like I talked about this a lot last season, how I'm so mindful of who I say, how I use the word friend. Everybody is not a friend to you. I have a church friend or a business friend, or those people I know in these spaces. I know you from church. I know you from, the interior design or wedding business, anything, however, we know each other. That's how we should be compartmentalizing our friendships. But then we have our core circle, our core group of friends, like the people who I keep saying you have to have these connections with. It's important that you choose the right people to share your secrets with, or to keep your secrets, or to, root for you when you're in your winning season, or to be there and hold your hand when you are down in the dumps. And especially in a growth period or growth process, we need strong people in our lives. But we need to also understand the other part of honesty. Your real, real friends do need to be honest with you. And we need to remove the word brutal from in front of the word honesty, because sometimes it's not meant to be brutal. And if I love you, I would never deliver anything to you brutally. I am going to be honest with you, right? So I think something that I've learned, because I understand the parts of the brutal honesty, but I think something that I've learned to do, and something that I'm so mindful to do with my friends, is when I am saying something, whether it's my friends, my nieces, my nephews, my sisters, my mom, sometimes I need to be honest with her. And I'm like, Ma, listen to this. You need to say, listen with your unheard ears. I think that is a very, very, very crucial part of growth. Growth is to be able to listen with unhurt ears. And by that, I mean, take away the pain, take away the way you've had to operate out of fight or flight. Because again, if you think about trauma and you think about how we grew up and you think about all these things that you've been through, you've had to operate, in a specific way. Like you had to, it's fight or flight. Like I can't take any criticism. I don't want to hear anything. But when I'm telling you a truth and it's coming from a place of love, I always say, I need you to listen with your unhurt ears, because, you know, I understand how it could come across as hurtful. I understand how it can be painful, but somebody needs to tell you. And we all have been there. I've been there. We've all been there. I had to have my sisters and a few really key friends, like people who I have shared those things with, who really, really loved me, tell me things when I was in my dark moments. And I needed to hear it, but I didn't see it for myself. Because that's the reality of living through things. We don't always see how we're acting. We don't always see how we're performing. We don't always see how what we do affects other people. My daughter, who, I've had on my old podcast, but who, is she's the person who will keep me humble. Okay, let me say that. She will make sure if I think I am this, she's like, she'll knock in my knees in and say, you're not that great. She's had to point out some things where I wasn't being the best, and I wasn't, the greatest. I wasn't in the greatest place, and she's had to say things to me, and I had to receive it with my unhurt ears and really take it in and really say, you know what? I appreciate that. I appreciate you for pointing that out to me. So I think sometimes, like, as I was reading through these comments and I was like, oh my goodness, but this person is telling you because they care. I think. I don't know, you know? I think that's why it's so crucial and so important, again, that we choose the right people to keep around us. We make sure that our friend circles are tight. We make sure that what we share with people is, very limited. Like, everybody doesn't need to know everything. I watch people, like, who think they're friends to you. And this is why we go back to the friend thing. If somebody will gossip about other people to you, they will gossip about you to other people. For me, that is not somebody that could be a friend to me. Period. Like, if you will talk about your other friend or our mutual friend to me, why do I think you won't talk about me to that person? And I am stern on one thing. I won't say anything behind your back that I won't say to your face. Like, I've had friends who I've seen spiraling out of control, who I see doing the wrong things, and I'm like, I know they might not receive it as well from me too, so I might say it to somebody else in the hopes that it gets back to them, so that when they confront me, I'll be like, yeah, but if I said it to you, you wouldn't have taken it, you wouldn't have received it. So it's not a negative, because I've told you, either I've told you this before, or I know you can't receive it from me. Um, but I think it is so important and crucial in the process of healing and in growth that we choose the right people to go through those stages with. And the reality of all of this is everyone has to get to know us again, too, right? So I think we also have to remove history of a friendship with people. Like, sometimes you think, oh, I've been friends with them for 20 years, though. So you have to get to know me. Once I heal and once I grow and once, as we're all evolving, and the reality is we should all be doing this, whether you're healing or not. If you stop growing, if you stop evolving, what are you doing? Like, just as we get older every year, like, you have to also evolve, not just yearly, but almost daily. And it's okay sometimes to stay in a place and stay stuck in a place because you're like trying to figure things out. But it's not okay to not grow. It is very crucial to grow. It's important that you grow. So I think with that, I think, like I said, your friends will have to get to know you. You will have to get to know your friends if they're also growing, So it's a two-way street. Like, the me I am today is not the same person I was 2 years ago. And the friends I have today are not the same friends I had 2 years ago, unfortunately. And I hate that, because a lot of people think, well, I've known you for all this time. And a lot of people saw me go through things too. Like, a lot of people in my past have seen me go through different stages and have seen me deal with all these different things that have happened to me. And now they're like, well, I that doesn't mean anything to me anymore, because I am healed from those things, and I'm still constantly healing from things, but I'm also whole now. Like, I know who I am. I know what I expect. I know where I want to go. I've figured out my purpose and I have a plan. So who I can't take everybody with me, unfortunately, but who I'm taking with me is coming with me. And everybody else, not to say to get left behind, because I say this all the time, I love everybody. If you were ever in my life, at any point in time, if we were ever friends, if we ever, had anything, I love you. I still love you. I try to leave all my friends in a place of love. I try to have no bad feelings between people. I might have like 3 people who are like, did you? And I hate that, because there was no conversation, but that's a topic for another day. There was no conversation and things ended badly. But for the people who are, who know me, and, maybe they're watching this, maybe they see it or whatever, everybody knows that about me. Like, I love everybody. If I've ever met you, because everybody played a different role in my life. Everybody played a different role in the person I became and the person that I'm becoming, good or bad, So I think as we grow, to get back on topic, I think as we grow and as we continue to grow, we have to be understanding of who we keep around us, the people that love us, the people that really love us, and how they deliver these messages to us. And a perfect example is my mom. um, my mom, she's going to kill me because I know she's going to watch this. My mother is so loving. Anybody that's ever met my mom is like, oh, she's so warm. She's a wonder. I love her. She is the rock of our family. Like, she is that mom. But my mother's delivery is brutal. So that's why I could understand some of the comments on Twitter, because I was like, oof, my mother could say something and she means it in love, but she doesn't. The delivery isn't always well received, and I see both parts because I understand why she's saying it, and I think more so with my nieces and nephews. Especially with my nieces and nephews, she can be a little like it's painful. It's like, grandma, and they always call her out on it, which is a nice thing. She doesn't really do it to my daughter, thankfully, because my daughter is spicy. So, it doesn't that doesn't happen. But, my mother means out she's their grandmother. My mother loves her grandchildren. Like, I mean, it's like everything. I think it was my mother was created to be a grandmother. Like, she's the most amazing grandmother. And she loves them so much that she's like, you shouldn't do this or don't do this. And it's just her delivery. But I think for them, they have to learn to receive those messages from my mother with unhurt ears. She has wisdom. That's one thing she has. Grandma has wisdom over you, like she just, it's just not received that way, because to be 24 now or to be 25 or 28 or 30, how all their ages now is not the same for her. And so there's that balance, there's that thing. And I think, you know, I think that brutal honesty is a little different from what, some people are saying when, I don't know how, I wanted to use like, I want to give an example. Like, if somebody already has an insecurity, let's say that if somebody already has an insecurity, learn how to deliver a message to them. And I'm going to use the example of somebody saying like they're fat. I don't want to use it, but that's where I'm going with this because it's the easiest one. But if somebody already has an insecurity of being overweight or being quote unquote fat, and you turn around and like, well, stop eating bread. That's brutal. You understand? Like, I'm like, oof. I mean, yes, common sense. Stop eating bread. But I think there's a better way to say that. Well, like, what are you eating? Like, what are you doing? Are you exercising? Are you dieting? I understand your insecurity. There's different ways to deliver those messages. That was very like out of nowhere, but that was the best example I could give. But I think that, the brutal honesty sometimes is necessary. It's needed. It's needed for growth. I wish the term wasn't taken the way it was, because as I read through those comments on Twitter, I was just like, wow, But if somebody doesn't tell you, how will you know? Like years ago, I had a friend who was like, I'm a good mom. I'm a good mom. She would always say, or people who say I'm a good mom or I'm a good dad, I'm like, well, how do you know that? Like, do your kids constantly say that to you? Because I think they're the only people who can judge us on that, right? You can't judge each other. We can't judge each other on being parents, because the only person that could write that review is the child. It's like receiving reviews in business, right? The only person that could write that review is the person who I service. So as a designer, I could be like, I'm the best interior designer. I'm a great interior designer. Da, 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 da. The reality is, it's my clients who have to tell me that I'm great. It's my clients who have to say, hey, when they write their reviews, like, Cassandra's an amazing designer, she's an amazing planner, she's, all these things. So we need honest people around us. We need people who are going to just, hey, I'm gonna cut to the chase. Now, for those of us who have to deliver those messages, we need to learn how to handle those people with kid gloves. Like, insecurity is insecurity, trauma is trauma. Like, understand, as I'm growing through these things and I'm going through these things, I need somebody who's going to handle me with kindness. We need to handle each other gently. Like, I can't just blurt out anything that I'm thinking. I have to think strategically. Like, how do I want to deliver this message? The words we use are so important. Like, what I say matters. The words I use matter. Like, even in ending relationships, which is always brutal, I think how we end them are equally important. The words we use towards each other, whether it's intimate or otherwise, those things are like, the words we use matter. That can affect people in ways we don't even care to think about, like care to understand, because it's like, I feel this way in this moment. I don't care how the other person feels. I don't care. Like, and I get that. I understand how we feel, but I think it's so important that when we're as we grow individually, but also culture and humanity, because something happened. I don't know where. Like, that's why I started with America. We have a problem because our values have gone out the window, morals have gone out, humanity has gone out the window, and we just treat each other so poorly. And it's sad. It's hard to watch. It's very hard for me to watch how people treat, like, I scroll on the internet and I'm like, oh my goodness, like, I see couples arguing this and that, and then I see people in the comments. I'm like, where are your friends? Where are your friends to say stop doing that? You don't look so good. It doesn't reflect well on you. It's on the internet. It's always going to be. Listen, the way I thank God that I did not grow up with social media, like, I was at Freaknik. I was all these things that we did as kids. I'm so happy. It's not. It's like there are no pictures of it because, oh my lord. But to have those friends to say to you, like, girl, you look silly, like, in a kindest way. Like, I remember a few years ago, I had a friend she's still my friend. She's a very good friend to me. I remember she pulled me to the side and she's like, this doesn't look so good for you. Like, you're not being yourself, and it's not the person I know you to be. And it's like, sometimes we don't realize how it looks to other people too. And I'm not telling you we need to care about other people's um opinions of us, because I definitely don't care about too many people's opinion of me. But I know that when you care about me, you care about how I might be putting myself out there. And I'm like, I am my brand. I am my walking brand. I am a designer, interiors, events, clothes, all these other things. It is important how my clients might see me. It's important because I am my company. But in 2022, I think we're all our own personal brands, right? Like, how we put ourselves out there is how businesses might work with us, or however. And everybody has the potential to be an entrepreneur, so I think it's important. But you definitely have to have people who will tell you the truth, like, because the truth shall set you free, right? Like, that's the whole purpose of also growth, and learning, unlearning what we've learned and learning new things is confronting the truth. And sometimes that truth is hurtful. Sometimes it looks ugly. And sometimes we just don't know. That's another part of it. Sometimes we just don't know. And we need that person to say, you did X, Y, and Z, or this happened. Like, I don't know. We have a major problem, America. Like, it worries me to no end. Like, the future is bleak, unfortunately. And unless we start really becoming better humans towards each other, it's not going to end well for us. We have to be better. We have to be, like, I talked about this a lot in last season, where I said, like, even with celebrities, and I hate to use celebrities because I really personally have this thought of celebrity, and I'm going to use that. I think, remind me, who's going to remind me? Remind me. I have to remember that I want to talk about this towards the end of this. But I think even with like celebrities or people, rappers, but when we see history repeating itself in certain ways, like I talked about, like, last season with Mary J, when she went through all that with, is it Casey or JoJo? I never remember. What is wrong with me? Whichever one of the Jodeci boys. Or how then we would turn around to see another singer, or another rapper, actor, whatever, doing. We need to hold each other accountable, but we also need big brothers, right? Like, we don't know what it's like, as like, a lot of people, should I say, not we, but I'm not a celebrity. I'm not on TV. I'm not here or there. So I don't know what it's like to have to, one, be a celebrity, be on TV, always be smiling. A lot of them go through media training to put themselves out there, and then also have to deal with your traumas at the same time. So, like, when she was going through her stuff, or Rihanna, Karuchi, all these people, like, all these women who have gone through things in their relationships publicly, Cardi B, all these people who have gone through, it's like, how do I act? What do I do? We need each other. We need to hold each other accountable, and in a truthful way. Like, listen, I know he did this, that, and I understand that the money changes people, right? I think that's a truth a lot of people don't want to hear. Money definitely changes people. And it's like it should be like a program for, like, the football players when they go through things. Like I said, I think Ocho Cinco, he has a great opportunity in his position as who he is and what he went through. And, we offer him grace because everybody who was involved in that situation equally offered him grace. Okay, young blood, he needs to take the next guy. Like, okay, young blood, don't make my mistakes. And even when you don't want to hear it because I already did this. I already did that. I don't want you to make my same mistakes. I don't want you to ruin your career because of this. I think, okay, we use celebrities, but I think even in life, when we have people we care about, when we have people around us, when we have people that we love, it is almost our responsibility, as humans, to say to each other, like, hey, don't make my mistakes. Now, I get it for a younger generation, like, you don't know, like this and that. And they are very much a, FU generation, unfortunately. Like, however, if you can say something in love, if you can express your concern in a loving way, I don't think that the honesty is as brutal, and always ask people, like, listen with your unhurt ears. I always say that. Listen with your unhurt ears. I don't want you to receive this in a traumatic space. I don't want you to receive this in a hurtful space. I'm not trying to be hurtful towards you. I'm being loving, and I want you to hear me out because I did that already. And I don't want you to go through that. I don't want you to go through what I went through because I know what I went through, you know. But I don't know. I don't know how we reframe brutal honesty. Again, though, I say if that person is not for you, if they're just being nasty or they're not your friend or this and that, yeah, then brutal honesty is different. Like, listen, I didn't ask you. I don't care how you feel about me. I don't care what you have to say about me. But when we love people, it is our duty to be very honest with them and find a way to deliver honesty and love, especially when somebody's arguing with you or debating with you, which when it's hurtful, there is going to be a debate. There is going to be an argument. You have to let them say what they want to say and say, I hear that. However, here's what I'm saying. Please listen with your unhurt ears. That is it. That is how I feel about the brutal honesty topic. Of course, this isn't the end of the conversation because I always feel like this is the beginning of the conversation, but nobody here to talk to. I'm talking to myself. So it's harder to continue on, but it's the start of the conversation as always. When I have somebody who wants to talk to me about it, I will continue. The point on celebrity, I just thought about this. So I was talking to a friend of mine who had said somebody met or something with another celebrity. They met celebrity and it was like this and that. And I think because I am in such close proximity to celebrities and how I'm so compassionate, I see things differently. So this is going to be an unpopular opinion. And this is a random thought, not a hot topic. This is going to be a very unpopular opinion. Celebrities are humans too, right? Um, they're being paid for their skills and their talent. So if you're a basketball player, God gave you the gift of being able to play that sport. And so you're using your skills and your talent to provide a living for yourself and your family. On the other side of it is they're humans too, right? So how would you want to be treated when you go through things? Do you want everybody to know your personal business? Right? Like, reality is everyday people do everyday things, right? We've all been hurt in some shape, way, or form by another person. But when it's a celebrity, it's such a spotlight on them. And the way social media holds a fire to people, I'm always like, oh my goodness, like a person who's going through a rough divorce or a person who's going through something, like, sure, there's to an extent the people who share. Like, I know Tyrese is an oversharer, right? He tells everybody everything on social media. And as such, here comes comments and criticisms and all that other stuff. But what about the people who don't talk about their private lives? I've seen, like, oh, here's a picture of such and such out with another person, they're married. And then all the comments that come underneath, it's not your business. As it is, these people are already having to deal with it, right? If I'm the wife of the cheating celebrity husband, I already have to go through it. What? Why do we think? And this is a question. It's a random thought. It's a question and a very unpopular opinion. I get it. We love to see celebrities. We love to think we're all in their business. They all don't share like that. I don't know too many actual celebrities that are out here telling you all their business. You don't see Oprah on social media going, "Oh, Stedman hit me." Oh, I don't know why I said that. That was terrible. But you get my point. Like, I think we need to start rethinking how we treat every, like, they're still humans, you know. And I say this as somebody who deals with a lot of celebrities. I have a lot of celebrity clients, and you would never know it. I don't share their private business on my on any platform, but I don't even share it with my family sometimes. Like, you know, I sign a lot of NDAs, and because of that, I definitely think to myself, if I was this person, how would I want to be treated? You know, like if I was a celebrity, how would I want to be treated? Like what would be the you know, like what would be the expectation of other people? Like I'll share with you what I want to share with you, but I don't think everything should be open season. Like they're just being human. So we always have to stop and think, like, how would I want to be treated if I was in this position? Nobody wants their dirty laundry out on the streets. Nobody wants everybody to know their business. Nobody wants to be ratted out. Like that's the thing when I see people who are like, "Oh, look at this celebrity out with it." Like, is that your business? Ugh, I don't know. This is unpopular, and I know y'all are gonna crucify me for this, but I don't know why. I think with my clientele and you know the way I handle myself, I you know and listen, if you are a business owner or somebody who is a brand or whatever, know that celebrities really do appreciate that. Like, and sure, I don't post all these people's homes or all these people's personal events on my page for a reason, and in turn, the way they appreciate that is by sharing my name and you know, hey, listen, hire this person, she's great. Like you know, your stuff is not going to be on page 6, your stuff is not going to be on the front of People magazine. So there's that, you know. But I think when we think about celebrity, we really need to consider that these people are human too. Like let's have more compassion for each other. Like if I'm going through a divorce and it's a hard divorce, I don't want other people to chime in and tell me about my divorce or how, oh, you know, this is happening or that's happening. It's hard enough. What I'm going through is hard enough. I don't need outside noise. And I know that's hard because I see it on some of my clients and I'm like, oh, this is brutal. I hope they didn't read this. So I don't know. That's my random thought, very unpopular opinion. Thank you for joining me. This was fun. um, Follow me on Instagram, CXC underscore podcast. I think. Don't quote me on that, but follow me. Subscribe, share with your friends. I'm on YouTube now, so if you only listen on Spotify or Apple or any other streaming, also I'm on YouTube. Leave comments, like, do all that stuff. Leave me reviews, do all that great stuff. If this was good for you, or if this is great for somebody that you know you think somebody would appreciate this message, share it. That's how news gets spread. Really, good news anyway. Bad news will make it on social media in 5 minutes. And that's it. Thank you for joining me.